name is Ava. I'm an au pair here in London, and I'm making this mini-series about becoming an au pair. The first part was about finding a family, and this part will be about interviewing families. So whether you're going through an online channel or through an agency, you will have to interview the families that you are interested in to find out if you're actually a match. This could be either way a phone call, but most likely it's going to be a Skype call or a FaceTime or something where you can see each other. It is really important to prep for these interviews. The number one thing is read their profile so that you know which family you're talking to, what ages the kids are, what they generally expect from you. Maybe write it down if that helps you, because in a lot of cases you'll be talking to different families, you'll have read many profiles, so it sometimes gets a bit confusing as to which profile belongs to what family and which one you're talking to and what stood out in that family for you specifically. So it's good to read their entire profile through one more time before you start the interview. If after reading their profile you have any questions for the family, make sure you write them down so that you don't forget to ask them during the interview. One of the main things to ask about is sole care versus shared care. Now, if you don't know what this means, sole care is that you take care of the kids when the parents aren't around. Shared care is that you take care of the kids while the parents are around and you do it together. Now, there's a big difference between the two. Sole care is very much like babysitting. You arrive, the parents leave, you're in charge of the kids by yourself. When they come back, that's it. Obviously, there's usually that transitional period, so you're going to have a little bit of shared care anyway, but most of it is sole care. Shared care, you are spending most of your days with the parents and the kids, or at least one parent, often the mum, and together you are taking care of the kids. With sole care, it's very easy. You're in charge, it's your rules, your way of doing things, your routine, and if you stick to your routine, the kids will get used to it and they'll start acting like that is what's normal. With shared care, it's a bit more difficult to know where you stand, so it's very important that if you have a family where you are expected to care for the children with the parents, that you know what you can expect. Who's in charge? What happens if one of the children acts up and maybe the parent isn't looking? Can you tell the kids off? What do they expect from you in those situations? What exactly do you need to do if you have to help get the kids ready for school, or help with household chores or whatever? The more specific they are, the easier it's going to be for you to figure out and to find your way. It's very awkward in the beginning. I remember for my first family, having shared care is really awkward when you don't really know what to do. The kids don't really know you. You don't know whether you can or can't tell the kids off when they're doing something wrong. So definitely knowing what you can expect, knowing what the parents expect from you, helps in those situations. Another thing that's important is to know what kind of household work that the parents expect from you. So I had one family that I interviewed, and when I interviewed them and in the profile as well, it said that I would do about an hour, maybe two housework a week. And when I got to text their current au pair, she said that she did 1 to 2 full days of household work, which is not allowed here in England. Here in England, you're only allowed to do child-specific household chores. This means children's laundry. You're not allowed to do parents' laundry. You can do the cleaning up of the children's bedrooms, of the common areas, so a living room, a kitchen, those kind of things, but only things that involve the kids. You should definitely not be having to do a full day's worth of cleaning. And you can spread it out you should be able to spread it out over multiple days as well. Another thing to ask about is hours. How many hours are they expecting you to work? How many hours in the morning? How many hours in the afternoon? And how many hours of babysitting? On top of that, with babysitting, ask them which hours of babysitting are sort of included in your salary and which ones aren't. Oftentimes, the salary, pocket money, will include part of the babysitting. So for example, you'll work 25 hours, roughly 5 hours a day, and 2 days with 2 nights of babysitting, that is what's included in your pocket money. If you go over that, you get extra. That is sort of the general consensus of au pairs here in England, but your family might just say, no, your pocket money is for 25 hours or 30 hours or however many hours you need to work every single week, and everything on top of that is babysitting and gets paid extra. And that leads me to ask about your pay. Parents might not be comfortable saying right away, but it is something that is kind of important to know. I had a friend who had a really good family where she got paid a lot, but they had private problems, so they didn't want an au pair living in their house anymore, so she needed to find another family and dramatically dropped in her wage because she hadn't asked what it was before she started. And once she found out, it was significantly less than what she'd been getting in her previous family. So that is something to definitely think about. Ask about pay. It doesn't need to be the leading factor, but it is good to know. Another thing to think about is a difference in parenting style. Now, I think this is something that a lot of au pairs struggle with. Either way, kids that aren't getting told off, or are getting told off a lot more than they feel comfortable with, or parents are too strict or not strict enough. Every culture raises children different, but also every person within that culture raises children differently. The number one problem that you're going to face as an au pair is children not listening, because they're used to being told off in a different way, or they're not used to being told off. So definitely ask the parents about telling kids off, about consequences. Do they lose their telly time, or do they lose a snack, or whatever? How do the family work, and what do the family expect from you when the kids are misbehaving? The reason why this is important to me is because this is a problem that I had with my first family. Now, my first family believed that children are their equal and that they should not be told what to do. I didn't know this. In the beginning. So I came across a lot of problems where every time I told one of the kids what to do, and they were 6 and 8, they would be screaming or crying, and it wasn't immediately like, oh, it's time to go take a shower. But if I went like, no, we have to take a shower now because it's almost dinner time, so hurry up, in the shower now, please. Whenever I got the slightest bit stern with them, especially the 8-year-old, he would start crying, and I just didn't understand it, because I've done that with so many kids, and especially at that age, they understand. It's like, okay, I'll do it, and then once they've done it, all is good. And it wasn't until after I told the family that I was going to leave that they told me this, because there was an issue with one of the children. And I think it must have been nearly 3 weeks of me struggling with this and having kids that just didn't listen, which I wasn't used to. So yeah, I definitely recommend talking about parenting styles, what the family expect from you to do whenever the kids aren't listening or acting up, having a tantrum, whatever. During the interview, also ask family questions about the kids' hobbies, their interests, about the children, so you can get a general idea of if the kids' interests align with yours. Maybe you're somebody who likes to be artsy and likes to do drawing and painting and just be indoors generally, and if you've got 4 boys that just want to go outside and play football, you might not have a lot of fun an entire year long. So see if that matches up as well. Also, something that's really important is if the family asks you questions, answer it honestly. A lot of families ask you scenario questions. What would you do if the children did this, or what would you do if this happened? If it hasn't happened to you before, you might just say that. It hasn't happened to me before, but I think I will do this, or I think I will do that. Or can I just think about it for a second, and answer however you see fit. The only way you can see if a family is right for you is to answer the questions honestly and to see if it matches up with what the family is saying. And something else that's really important to remember is that it's okay if the family isn't a match. There are plenty more families looking for au pairs all year long. So if this family isn't a match, just keep on looking and you'll find the right family for you. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I've got 2 more videos planned at the moment in this series. The next one is going to be things to think about before you leave. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and see you in my next video.